If someone buys their own PC and that PC goes down, you can't just say, well, it's your problem. Call Dell or call HP or call IBM. You have to support it. Because if that user is down, if that user is unproductive, he's costing the company money. So how do you deal with bring your own PC? And we're going to talk about how client hypervisors will help in this area. If I'm going too fast for you guys, stop me, but I really want to get through the slides as quickly as possible. So VDI, server-hosted virtual desktops. What's the secret sauce for VDI? The number one most important thing with VDI is always going to be storage. We're going to talk about the impact. I actually have a case study. The second most important thing is management. And the third most important thing is user personalization. And those are all questions that you guys put on the board. Excellent questions we're going to dig into. So what are the benefits of a VDI? So with VDI, you're going to get ease of management. You're going to get power savings. Instead of having 500, 600 physical desktops on the floor of your office that are always powered on, if you have these in the data center running on servers, you can power them off. You can power them down between the hours of 6 p.m. and 6 a.m., for example, thereby consolidating the number of servers, hypervisor servers that you're running in the data center that are running these virtual machines. So there's a lot of cost benefits, a lot of operational benefits to running VDI. Now, some of you will have probably heard or have probably seen some comparisons between VDI and terminal server, for example, which is the next slide. Terminal server is proven technology. Anyone that says terminal server is old or terminal server is outdated or terminal server didn't go mainstream or terminal server failed, that's inaccurate. And I'm trying to use that as gently as possible. And once again, I'm going to open the policy. I apologize if I seem very opinionated. I'm trying to keep this overview as generic as possible. So there are 80 million users of terminal server in the world today, between Citrix and Microsoft. So by no means can someone say terminal server failed. A terminal server can also play a role in desktop virtualization. The reason terminal server didn't really go mainstream is because companies like Citrix and Microsoft didn't really have a competition in this space. So if you look at terminal server in the past 10 or 12 years, nothing's really changed. There's a few features here, a few features there, but there was no reason to innovate in that space. Here comes VMware that took everybody by storm, and now all of a sudden you see companies like Citrix and VMware and others, you have virtual computer in the room, that are innovating, that you see cool stuff. Yesterday from Citrix Synergy, there was some great announcements that came out. We never saw these groundbreaking announcements come up in the last 10 or 15 years with terminal server. But speaking of terminal server, the amount of users to servers that you can put on a terminal server will always far surpass that you can put with VDI or any type of desktop virtualization. You can get 200, 300, 400 users per server on a terminal server. Not that you would do it, because if you have 400 users that go down, yeah, you don't want to hear from 400 people. But from a scalability perspective, you can do it. It's proven technology. You get remote access, eyes-only security. The benefits of terminal server go on and on and on. Client hypervisors type 1. This is probably one of my favorite topics. And it's one of the hottest topics. And I'm going to kind of make a prediction here. I'm willing to bet that in the next few years, a client hypervisor will become standard on desktops and laptops. If you look at what Intel has done in the past few months, Intel has bought a company, and I don't know if I can even pronounce this correctly, called Elias. They were, them and Virtual Computer, were one of the first to introduce a Type 1 client hypervisor on the market. Today you have Citrix that has it, and others that are starting to do Type 1 client hypervisors. Type 1 client hypervisors are very cool, even for laptop users. Today in any environment, if you're not standardized, you probably have HP laptops, IBM laptops, and all sorts of laptops. Each one of those laptop hardware profile requires a different image. Well, if you put a client hypervisor on there, you standardize it. So now you have one virtual machine that you can pass around between all of these laptops, or desktops for that matter, without having to have a different image for each one of them. If that laptop, or the image on that laptop fails, gets corrupted, whatever the case might be, however long it takes you to copy that virtual machine back is the time that it takes to bring that user back up. It's that simple. From a client hypervisor type 1 perspective, this is perfect for enabling something like bring your own computer. You give them $500, $600, they go out, buy a computer, you come in, you put a client hypervisor on it, or if it's pre-built with a client hypervisor, you give them a VM. This is the VM you run when you're in the office. When you're outside of the office, you can bring up a second VM that you run all day long. I don't care, for the most part. Ease of management, ease of hardware swappability. So if someone destroys their laptop, and we've seen that, oh, it's not working, my monitor cracked. How did it crack? I don't know, it just cracked. You take the laptop away, you copy the virtual machine off of that laptop, put it on new hardware, you're back up and running within 15 minutes. That's flexibility that we don't have, that we should be embracing. So type 1 client hypervisors, some of you are probably going to bring up, what about performance? With some of the technologies that we're seeing today, performance is probably not going to be an issue. And as the technology starts to progress, it's going to get better and better and better as they start passing the hardware functions all the way to the operating system and letting the operating system install the drivers. And that's what most of the client hypervisor companies are trying to do or have done today, is allow the GPU to be managed by the operating system rather than to be completely managed by a client hypervisor. Type 2. Again, here I'm going to be opinionated. This is probably the worst type of client hypervisor that you can use. And with all due respect to Microsoft, this complicates things, and VMware for that matter, this complicates things way too much. So what they're suggesting here is, hey, here's your Windows 7 desktop or laptop, load VMware Workstation or Microsoft Virtual PC on it, and then you can have a Windows XP if you want. Well, from an IT administrator standpoint, now I have 2 virtual machines I have to, or 2 machines at each user's desk that I have to patch, that I have to make sure antivirus is on there, that I have to troubleshoot if they break. So, and when you do that, you're giving the user the ability to create more virtual machines. So it wouldn't be unpopular to have 4 virtual machines plus the physical desktop at a user's desk. Now you got to manage 5. And to make things worse, Microsoft introduced something called MedV. MedV allows you to remotely manage your new VM instances. You guys really want to manage, instead of having 500 physical desktops, manage 2,000 physical and virtual desktops? Trying to deploy applications with SCCM or Altiris or anything else to 2,000 desktops? Good luck with that. So Type 2, does it have its place? Maybe. From my perspective, I'll never recommend it, but it's out there. Application virtualization. Application virtualization is probably one of the coolest technologies that's available. It allows you to keep legacy applications. It allows you to have different versions of an application run on the same operating system without stepping on top of each other. It allows you to distribute applications easier, update applications easier, manage these applications easier, keep track of licensing of applications much, much easier. So you have all these benefits with application virtualization. Some of the pitfalls, and we'll talk about that in a second as well, is not all applications can be virtualized, whether you're using Citrix or Microsoft or VMware. Thin clients. So another prediction. I am willing to bet that in the next few years, the PC will be replaced with a smartphone. Your smartphone will be your PC. Take a look at the HTC Incredible today. It has an HDMI output. What's to stop HTC from putting a USB port on that phone as well? If they put a USB port on that phone, I can walk up to any monitor that has a keyboard and mouse, plug in the HDMI, plug in the USB, and I just turned my phone into a perfect thin client that already has internet access. Why would I need anything else? If I have VDI in the server or the data center, I'm perfect. I'm connected to my desktop from wherever I am. 3G is still around, but there's 4G that's here with incredible performance. As that starts to become more popular, what else do you need? It's perfect. Now, there are very, very cool devices that are coming up. The Cisco CS is an extremely cool tablet that I think is going to give the iPad a run for its money. I know some of you think of the iPad as a big iPhone, but the iPad is great. Have you ever tried to connect from an iPad to a VDI machine? It's perfect. Now, would I ever connect, even though I can, from my iPhone to a VDI machine? Hell no. There is no way. Netbooks, so on and so forth, the use cases for zero thin clients, it's perfect. And zero clients in general, from companies like Wise and Analogic and so on and so forth, they're perfect. There's no moving parts in them. There's no software on those thin clients. So if they break, you take them out and put another one. You don't have to manage it. You don't have to update it. There's nothing there. There is no way for it to get affected. Whereas some of the thin clients today that have XP embedded on them have the potential to get affected with viruses or crash